Deluded, I'm back again. Well, there it is. Unai Emery is now no longer Arsenal manager. Apologies, this video cuts out because they're low back, but Emery is no longer Arsenal manager. The writing has been on the wall for a while. Did I think they would pull the trigger today on Friday? No. How did Emery get fired on his day off? How you get fired on your day off, Craig? I'm guessing because he was training the team today. And that's quite ruthless from Raul Sanllehi, apparently, people. Because apparently Emery was unaware until the final moments, like the team. And they only let him know after he led this morning's training session that he is no longer Arsenal manager. Similar to his post-game comments, he assumed he was going to be managing against Norwich, but it wasn't to be. It's been a long time coming, so farewell, Emery. Ultimately, farewell, man. The positives I'll say to Emery before I get into it: I don't think you've ever tried to not do your best. You've acted with integrity. You've tried your best and whatnot. There's been rare incidences, especially Spurs at home and the victory where we drew 1-1 against Liverpool, where I saw some fight and heart. And there has been times like United last season where I did feel the team's inability to concentrate. Apologies, people. The team's inability to concentrate let him and us down. But ultimately, Emery's flattered to deceive and given nothing but lip service since he's been at the club. We heard tactical analysis, video analysis, energy, high demanding, all the things that modern day coaches have that Arsenal felt we was lacking under Wenger and what Arsenal fans craved. And I think a lot of that craving and a lot of first for a new manager, nothing wrong. Kerner gave Emery a oblige next season because some of these signs, while they weren't as glaringly evident, the lack of shots, the total shots faced, the need in second halves to change games, which has abandoned us this season. We're actually decent in the first half and terrible in the second. In fact, we're terrible in all. They've still been there, and whether we've won, lost or draw, they've come to the forefront this year, even when we won against Bournemouth, and this needed to come to a head. He's lost the players clearly. He's lost the players. You saw yesterday, he named a strong team and it was a poor performance. He bottled the decision to bring on Pepe or Lacazette, where his position potentially was on the line, and opted for Torreira. It is what it is. He's flattered to deceive. I just assume his communication, and it's not even a language thing, because Poch was at Southampton with a language translator, and there's been many examples. I personally feel that his communication style, or however he's tried to coach, it might be highly knowledgeable or effective, but it's been ineffective in getting through to the players in whatever language or tone he's tried to deliver in. Did he try to give them too little information? Is it too much? I think the latter, because 1 minute where we never had, I think it should have been a thing where, for instance, we play 4-3-3 centrally, people. That's our formation, our core philosophy. But according to the opposition, we deviate. He's failed to even do things like that, and it's 4-4-2 1 week, 5 at the back 1 week, and it's not healthy for the players to build up relations on the field with their next men. It's not healthy for the new players to get settled. Hence why a player, especially in an attacking sense, is really excelling, bar Aubameyang in terms of goals. But in our last couple of games, there's nothing he can do. There's no philosophy. He's failed to address how we defend, how we approach defending, how we keep clean sheets.
Keep on smiling.
Yeah.
Living life to the full.
No, exactly. So like you heard the lady say, all you can do is smile, really, with this. and the little kid. Like you can say, trust me. Like you can do, people. What you can do is smile, really, because we've just essentially been atrocious. We've been nothing but atrocious, people. We've been nothing but poor. Like you heard, defending, we failed to introduce. Communication, being able to concentrate for sustained periods, we're unable to do that. Everything he's introduced is just appalling, people. Like, it's just, my hands are dying as I speak. It's just been appalling from the man, really. Like, it's just, everything's just not been there. There's not been a base, there's not been a core base of players he's looked to build around. Players look bewildered, and you can't underestimate, obviously we've needed new players, but you can't underestimate coaching, how players build up relations, how learning the system, how they relish it. Because obviously new players, Fabinho, Van Dijk and them man there made a difference at Liverpool. But it's more or less not the same team from when Klopp had, but he's worked with a lot of them players, and the players haven't understood their duties, and we haven't learned from our mistakes. Whether the players are choosing to make these mistakes is another thing, but we haven't learned from our mistakes under Emery, people. And that's it, really. I mean, all the double sessions, tactical analysis things, all the things fans were praising, everything you thought was going to be here, has been abandoned allegedly, or has been ineffective. He's got a win percentage in his 78 games as Arsenal manager at 55%, which drops to 49, I believe, when you focus just on the Premier League. Granted, if you also look at his performances, people, what was it? No, that's the wrong statistic. Actually, it's about shots faced, people. In both Emery's seasons as Arsenal manager, the Gunners have allowed their opponents to attempt more shots than they have attempted themselves in the league, which no top six manager should be happy with. No top 4 to 6 team or team that's inspiring to do things should do that. In fact, wherever you are in the team, it's toothless. Clearly, Emery's thinking was let's be solid and compact and allow them low quality chances from wide positions and then spring on the counter, but you have to deploy the players. There's been too many times there's been bewildering decisions since Emery's come here, and like last season, how are you really a tactical genius if you have to be reactive to your own tactics and continuously change your tactics? People slowly woke up to that one there. Obviously the 5 captains thing as well. He's obviously had problems finding a leader. Apparently didn't even want Xhaka as his captain ultimately, people, which makes it very concerning that he actually was, which makes me wonder, did you ever really consider player power? Obviously it's not PSG players, but did he learn from his mistakes at PSG and realise player relations is cool? Because obviously Wenger had his problems, but one thing is the players, I feel it needed a change, but you could see the players evidently cared. I'm not saying the players don't care about Emery, but it don't seem like there was any real affiliation to him beyond being Arsenal manager. Obviously, we're winless in 7. We've actually held the lead in 5 of them games and walked away with less points or a worse result than we previously should have, which again talks about game management. Some of it is his tactics. There's been times he's actually made defensive, pragmatic changes and it's made us worse. There's been times he's made bewildering decisions. There's been times he'll rotate nobody, then rotate everybody, and then players that are frozen out, like you saw El Nene last season, and then brought straight back in. It's appalling, people. In the Premier League, we haven't won in 5, people, losing 2, drawing 3 and winning obviously none. We face Norwich, who should be wary, like all teams, of a new manager and a fight back, because players have to play for their spots again. But at the same time, they should be relishing it. Teams are relishing us in all competitions, thinking we can get something from Arsenal. Like Frankfurt, they thought, boy, Arsenal have been on top of us, but it's been more so because we're poor. It's only 1-0. Let's pattern this up and show Arsenal. And then you saw them walk away with the win. People are genuinely not scared of Arsenal. People are going into games thinking our season starts now, or they're vexed that they haven't taken 3 points. I guarantee you, Leicester, they took 3 points, but they're vexed they didn't kill that game off easier. Wolves and Palace, they were poor from the start. They still drew with us. I bet you them man there are vexed of how that game went, because Arsenal was there for the taking. Arsenal has been an open book until from the moment and before Emery came in. So he should have addressed this from early. Away games, how we defend, game management, that's it. You have a freedom within a framework, one central formation, and then you deviate. Or you make sure the players understand one way of working, and then you look to change things, and then you can do this tactical stuff. You can't play 5 at the back 1 week, 4 at the back of next, and think these players are going to get it, because these players have had to unlearn bad habits installed from the previous gaffer, and they make bad choices themselves. As much as I think Emery is to blame, for ultimately it's the manager, a lot of these players are hiding behind the manager's poor tactics. While I feel especially the attacking players have been crippled by his tactics, it's been poor, people. But the players have to wake up and play for their... Obviously Lumber might not be here long term, apparently he's only interim, but a lot of these players have to wake up as well. But ultimately Emery can't say the writing wasn't on the wall, because I'm sure he didn't even believe in himself. I'm sure it got to the point of people believed Emery was the man long term. Then they thought, okay, maybe he's not the man long term, but he's the man for right now. And then we go for someone at the end of the season, but now it's looking like you have to get rid of him now. It's like, for me, people personally, he could get top 4. He could have won Europa League, won the FA Cup, and got top 4. And Emery, for me, would still have to go, because I don't see what he's doing with this team. And when he talks about being a chameleon side, and he wants to do this and do that, it doesn't make sense. Apologies if my battery cuts out, people, but I actually screenshotted stuff on Unai Emery's website, and it actually is, I'm on 1%, so if it dies, forgive me. But I screenshotted stuff on his actual website, people, and you wouldn't believe this is an Unai Emery side. In relation to winning mentality, he said, always go for the win, even if you don't manage to get it in the end. That mentality is important in football and all walks of life. You must show desire to overcome obstacles and keep fighting to achieve your goal. Effort and dedication are always more important than just talent alone. It is attitude that you can achieve. We must work harder today than we did yesterday. The team always comes first. These don't sound like any side that Unai Emery is deployed in the Premier League or in all competitions since he's been at the job. And also, if you read his steps to success on UnaiEmery.com, amaze the opposition with your approach to the game. Taking the initiative can be key to the outcome of the game. Fails to take initiative in all games, and we amaze the opposition because it's just it's just carnage. It's just nonsense, really. The only consistency is inconsistency under Emery. He's also said, be clear about what you want. The players can't have any doubt as to how we want to play. They can't go onto the pitch with uncertainty in their minds. Do I need to spell that one out for you, how hypocritical that sounds, people? Then he's also said, create a positive mental attitude. A positive attitude is crucial for the team and their ability to carry out the game plan. But the team don't. I do think Emery is quite positive and almost deluded, pardon me. But I don't think he lets the players go out there with any freedom and clarity. Wenger made us very frail defensively, to put it nice. But at least it seemed like these players had freedom in that. There's that mental handbrake isn't there. At least in an attacking sense they can go. He doesn't trust them defensively and never did. So he puts a negative formation, and then he plays mix and match players in position, and then he doesn't let attacking players go out there on the front foot. So there's not clarity in the mind. So players are confused. So how can they go out and do what you want? Because he might have had great ideas, but ultimately he's failed to get it through. And it is, well, it is. Emery can only blame himself. Obviously, the names are being thrown in. We've been linked with Nuno, with Poch, the new Luis Enrique. The new one today is Carlo Ancelotti. Who knows? It might be Lomberg long term. No doubt the Arteta ones are going to field. I just hope we really scrutinise the next manager and not only learn from their successes, really scrutinise their successes. Was there any negative points during successful periods as managers at other clubs? And also, people, what can we learn from their failures during successful periods, but also their unsuccessful spells as managers? So yeah, people, it is what it is. Oh gosh, it is what it is in that regards. But for now, people, DG, out. Apologies. Yeah, man, it's time to go upload these.